Let me get the recording going really quickly. Can you do a mic check for me?
Check, 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 check.
Okay, class being recorded. Oh man, this is gonna be a short class. All right, so really quickly, let me bring up something here. Let's get started with Bitcoin, and then I want to go really quickly over Monero. Monero has been actually playing out very nicely. All right, so right here you have Crypto Bubbles, cryptobubbles.net, and also we can see one of the few that is green. It used to be green today in the morning, but it is Monero. Let's go first take a look at Bitcoin. All right. So Bitcoin the 4 hours, we are going over hitting into the dynamic reactor. Very important. That is a resistance, but we did broke through it. Very small breakouts. So we should not be trusting that much on that breakout. All right. And we have the retracement. Perfect. On that retracement, if we are able to hold this zone, I would say that we're good for then a little retracement back up and then continuation down. So basically, right here, let me just adjust this from where is it right now. Here it is. I am expecting if we are able to have supporting here, if we have a flip of the ribbon in here, going hit somewhere around 97 400, 97, yeah, 400 ish. After that, I'm going to be looking for a possible short at 96 197, and then we'll continue the possible range that we might have. The ultimate goal in here, let me bring up the daily just so you guys can see. The ultimate goal in here is going to be breakout retest, right? So let me just get rid of this little thing here. I would say just move this out of the way. And of course, let's just get rid of that one. Perfect. We have a big breakout. That is basically confirmation breakout. And very important, not like before. Before, we tend to have a downwards channel. Those downwards channels tend to break to the upside, all right? When we break dynamic reactor, we tend to have a downward channel. That downward channels tend to break to the upside, and so on and so forth. Even in here, we tended to have a downwards channel. What happens when we had the opposite? In fact, this was a pretty neat one that got many of us in here, me included. I was looking at this downward channel. Perfect. We got the breakout. I still did not bottom here because we were at resistance, and then I did not cut the very first short. My next short was somewhere around here on the previous cycle, and that is because we did have this initial downwards channel. Something important to know here, right after we take a look at what actually happened. So, unifying those stops, right, and unifying or trying to unify this bottoms in here, you see that it is either slightly tilted up or flat channeling here, right? Let's go for slightly tilted up. And why is that? Because just like bull flags, and look at this, this is, I would say, what we're having at this point, right? We're having a slight tilted up channel that tends to break to the downside. Remember, that is not a fact, a given fact. It's just a high probability thing, right? And let me make a little trick in here, right? First, before let's take a look at it here. We have a big pole, and then on that big pole, we have a downward channel in here, and that downward channel in here tends to break to the upside. This is this huge pole with this downward channel in here. It is called a bull flag, right? And tends to be very profitable. But right here, well, this is what we call a bear flag. It's not 100% confirmed. The only way to confirm it is actually when it breaks out. So let me invert the scaling here and you can actually see it. You see the polling here coming back down, and the most probable breakout, it is something like that. So that means that if we invert it back out in here, well, we're gonna be hitting some lower points. Something important that counteracts this theory. All right. First, the facts. We have a bear flag. All right. Then the second flag, we're having slight higher highs and higher lows. Very vanilla, very short ones, right? Not secure movements, right? tiny candles not really going anywhere. All right. The second fact it is that we can still break to the upside, and what I'm actually expecting it's going to be a fake out. What kind of fake out? A higher high that gets everyone in, and then that movement to the downside. Sometimes we see that happens when we have an overextended movement to the downside and then up. Remember, to see that, we need to invert this. So invert it. So maybe we can have, once as we see it, that over-exaggerated movement to the downside before we head up. But remember, we are inverted. So I'm looking for a possible scenario where we hit somewhere around 99 and 100K, even 104K before we start rolling over. That means that in the 4 hours or even lower time frames, we can still go slightly lower as long as we don't lose the support and then have the push upwards. All right, this is a little bit too much spaghetti, but let's leave it like this in here. Let me actually do a little bit more professionally here. I want this. All right, so the worst case scenario, not worst case scenario, but a possible scenario will be something like this. Okay, and but what I'm actually expecting, let me just make sure that I change this color so it's much brighter. There it is. What I'm actually expecting, it is this short movement, and then we will have to see what's going on. All right. So basically bouncing somewhere around this zone right now. And why am I that quote unquote confident? That is because we have not only dynamic reactor here acting as a support, but also let me bring up my other indicators. There we go. We have a predictive range, right? And we have some high order blocks at the bottom. It's true that we have a loud order block at the top, and that's why we are rejecting. It is a higher, is highly bullish. This loud order block, that doesn't mean that it doesn't act as a resistance. No, no, no. Let me make that clear. It is a resistance. When it's, I know, too noisy, right? And let me just clear this up. When we have a loud order block, that loud order block is a resistance at the top of the price action. And when it's highly bullish, that just means that when we impact it multiple times, their bears are going to run dry faster than the bulls. And then we can go through it. So, like in this case, the high order block at the bottom is a support, but look at how little bearish it is. It's 92% bullish. And that's why in the two of my predictions, we are just going slightly lower at from this point. So I would say expect some little push downs in here and then a further move to the upside. I do believe that in these last 2 weeks, it's right now December the 10th, we might have quote unquote a Merry Christmas hitting some 100K. And be careful. Be careful because don't you get too excited with, let's just say, those fake AirPods that you're going to get for Christmas, right? Fake AirPods, meaning that 100K. All right. So don't think that it's going to go to the moon so far. Other than if we held back on the money flow, 91K, if we reject back up, that's going to be a different story. But for now, remember, it's better to prepare for the worst case scenario. So that's what I got so far. Alex, let me know if you have a somewhat different perspective or a dramatically different perspective from what I'm seeing here.
So you got 99 down to where? Where do you think it's going down to?
Uh,
Do you think the low is in? That's what I need to know.
yeah, the first local lies, and it is. So right now, for us to bounce up, I'm looking my next entry for a long 88,500.
I like it. All right, so there's a couple of things going on here with the chart. Today's FOMC day, guys. So it's a day where you mostly, especially if you're a new trader, you do not want to trade this thing. You will end up, your job as a trader is to take high probability trade setups over and over again and for your account to look like this, okay? That is your job. Days like this can do this, or that can do this. I would say it's 90% chance of it doing this. Okay. Okay. It's a quarter position size kind of day. You don't F with Jerome Powell. He will rug you. You will not be ready. You will get bullish. You will get bearish. You will get FOMO. Today is a good day to sit on your hands and not trade, in my opinion. Okay. I wish the first 2 years of my trading, I never touched FOMC. I did. I learned my lesson. I do trade them now, but I do trade them with very, very strict rules and aggressive risk management. And there's a way to do that. We have a couple of things here to understand with the market. We do have a lot of liquidity down here. We do have an accumulation range in here. Okay. And we would look for this to manipulate and distribute back down to the lows. Okay. So this is a PO3 it's called, but it's accumulation manipulation distribution. So typically they'll get you euphoric, they'll send it up, and then will dump on your heads, okay, for a little bit of humble pie. So be prepared for that. Now, that's larger term time frame. The key is where OC is talking about 98 to about $100,000. This box right here. In this box here, everybody is looking at it. So be prepared that everyone's looking here. Okay, you got golden pocket, you got point of control, you got VWAP, anchored VWAP, you got a lot of things that are all pointing right here, and you have the psychological $100,000 level here. Okay, so even if we get going here, right, expect turbulence up here. The good thing is that we do have a range up here that we're looking to reclaim. That's why we're struggling to get above here. Right, when we zoom out and we look at this, we can very simply see that we do have good volume up here. Okay, so that means that we must flip it, right? You want to see a support and resistance flip. This is resistance. You want to flip that resistance in order to go higher, right? The price is very comfortable in here. So we look for the price to claim here and hang around. Now, how it hangs around is important, okay? How it proceeds up here is very important. If we get structure flips up in here, we should be looking to short it into the liquidity down here. Very simple. Whenever we flag out, because trend is down, everybody, okay, this would be a 5-way down, okay? And it doesn't really matter where the high is here. This is still a downtrend. So whenever we look for that, we need to see where the liquidity is. And you can just take a simple regression trend line here, and we can see that we are in a bear flag, right? We are flagging out, which means that buyers are stepping up and pushing price higher, right? Pushing price higher, which means that it's creating liquidity. Stop losses are below these lows. Therefore, if it fails, you come typically down for the low. Okay. Is this low in? I'm not convinced that this is the low. Okay. I think there could be, where's the most pain? I would say the most pain is up to wreck the bears right now. But this, to me, can be taken, and then we get a spring here, and then we would have perfect Wyckoff accumulation pattern in here, okay? However, we treat it as such. So what does as such mean? It means that we have support here at 90,000 and we have major resistance here at 94,000, right? Today they're going to look to take advantage of liquidity, right? They're going to move the market in a direction where they can wreck as many bulls and as bears as they want. This is market makers' dreams, okay, where they get to send the price in whatever direction they want due to a couple of words spoken by some old geezer in the Fed. Okay, so our job is to preserve our capital. That's our job, right? So right now we have a euphoric pump, a push up, creating liquidity, a failure to close above these highs here. So this is an SFP on a higher term time frame, which does grab liquidity and then send price down as it did yesterday. Okay, so for now, where are we? We're chopping, right? So bull div continuation. What has been the story? Well, it's been rejected. So we would expect rejection and to come into this area down here for potential for potential liquidity sweep, right? I didn't like this low right here. This was a golden pocket retracement bounce level, and I did get long on this, and I did get short here, and I did get long here. However, that's me. I'm a short-term time trader. I do not like this low that much. It's a golden pocket, but it's a very, very tight 618. If we go from low to high here, we can see that it's actually very tight 618 bounce level here, where we did bounce, and it was confluence, but it's still it didn't really come into this area as much as I would have wanted it to, if I'm being picky. So right now, this is an impulse golden pocket 786 level that we are currently trading in. Okay, we have bounced off of our golden pocket. Liquidity is at the highs, order blocks up in here, order block down in here, right? So if this, then that. Point of control of the range is right here, guys. So if we zoom out and we pull the volume across in here, we can see that our POC, sorry, I was off by a bit, is right here. So this is where the price is most agreeable, where buyers and sellers are most agreeable within the middle here. So this would, be a very choppy area for price to consolidate and hang out at, right? You can see that. That's where the most volume is being exchanged on this asset. So until we get some escape velocity, meaning, push or dump, right? Until we get out of this area, we can expect a hell of a lot of chop, and that's just typical, okay? Okay, very typical. So we prepare either way. For me right now, this looks like it needs to be taken more than this because we did a job yesterday. We took this high. So I would be expecting a buy the rumor, sell the news. We know we're going to get a cut today, right? So I would like to see a liquidity sweep down below and then a bounce. But we react. We don't, we're not, got a crystal ball. OC does sometimes. You can buy tops and still make money. But we need to be prepared, okay? A prepared trader is a profitable trader. There are some good signs in the market. We can see the NASDAQ bounced nicely out of here. We can also see the SPY is holding up quite nicely. We're only 1% off all-time highs for the SPY. Okay, you got the wrong photo there, OC. The wrong photo, man.
The second one. Look at that.
You don't know about Giga Chad, Alex O'Crypto?
Let me show. Let me see. Oh, dude, really? I love it. I was struggling to get one of those, man. let me save that. There's gonna leave right next to Chunky Candles, man. Second favorite, best photo.
That's the one, man.
Let's go.
There is some good things happening. ETH is outperforming Bitcoin right now. This is good. Look at this, guys. So ETH is up 1.5%. ETH is catching a bid, right? Which is very bullish for altcoins because ETH needs to go first. Okay, so I'm just giving you guys a little bit of a hopium here. But ETH, we know how much OC loves ETH. And look at ETH Bitcoin chart. OC breakout, retest, continuation, bro. Doesn't this make you happy, OC? Don't you love Ethereum? Look at this push, Ethereum, man. Brother. Look at this fucking ETH Bitcoin chart.
Holy shit.
How about that 200 moving average crossover 55 EMA strategy there, Army Piper?
What's up, dude?
ETH Bitcoin.
I love chart. The Giga Alex, man. Giga Alex. Love that.
That's the total Chad. That's me offending people. The Alex O crypto, the O in Alex O is actually offensive.
I am never going to get away from the Santa Claus picture, bro.
I got messages from someone's Discord that I was offending their strategy and making fun of their strategy because when I said this, I offended a lot of people in someone else's community.
I actually invite you guys up here, including
Does it begin with an L and end in Eifer?
No. It's someone who's a friend of the friend, but you'll
have to message me the name.
Let me ask you a question, guys, because I want to open up the debate here. We still have 5 more minutes before we jump into the TA Plus. But Alex and Ada is in Piper. I want to ask you a couple of things in here. First, you mentioned that it needs to go, right? I want to open up the debate because I'm actually turning around my perspective. Like, if you asked me last year, if you asked me a couple of months ago, I would say fuck Ethereum. Yes, we already know that. But I'll also be in 100% agreement, agree with you. It need to go first. But first of all, seeing how we've been trading Solana, oh man, I don't know. It feels to me that Ethereum it's losing that second position hegemony, if that makes sense. It's not that it's gonna be overtaken by Solana right now, but I believe that yes, it will be pumping, but it also gonna be get caught by something else, and that something else is Solana. That's what I'm thinking at this point. I'm starting to see that rotation between leaving ETH, getting Solana kind of things, but let me see your perspective. What do you think about that? I mean, we can take a look at the Solana ETH chart right away, but
Sol ETH is bad right now. So Solana had its day, and you guys know I trade Solana a lot. But Solana had its day. Right now, I'm looking for bottoming structure on Solana Bitcoin chart. So it has. There's a chance. There is a chance, but we have descending channel right now. So for me, it's got to take a high right now. What exactly was your question again there, OC? Sorry, I was a little distracted.
Oh, don't worry.
Yeah, so was I.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Really appreciate it. I'm just kidding. You
Sorry,
mentioned that
I got DM'd by a midget, an angry midget.
Even understood his question. Come on now.
Oh, fuck.
Don't worry.
What's up, Ada? How you doing, man?
My question was,
Let's just
so Alex mentioned seeing it taking off at this point, it's good for the altcoins because we know it needs to go first. But what if it doesn't? That is my question. I'm seeing that maybe we have a little chance right now that this cycle we might be seeing ETH not going as high as we should be seeing at previous other times, and then being taken by some other thing like Solana or something like it. So instead of having the full pump on ETH, it's going to be a divided pump between Solana and ETH.
It's gonna be a transfer of liquidity. It's gonna go out of ETH into something like Solana or XRP, and then it's gonna move into ADA, and like it's gonna rotate again. Where's all this liquidity going to come for alt season? Like you have 2.6 million buckets now. There's not enough water to fill them all up. They've got to fill up one bucket, take that bucket, dump it into another bucket, and that's how they keep that liquidity flow going.
That's why alerts and take profit levels are so important. I mean, it's like because now it's a different market, one thing's going to run at a time. So if you don't take profit on that one thing and you're hoping for all your boats to rise, you're going to end up not making money on that one thing because it's going to dump and the other thing's going to go. So you got to take profits individually.
And we know it's not. And we know it's not going to be Tomo,
especially Ada.
I actually disagree kind of. Here, I'll give a different aspect and a different thought pattern. So, in 2021 and 2017, things weren't as built together and automated. So, in 2025, you watched how one exchange having one real big issue and other things like that caused a $20 billion loss, that just happened in October. So, that's being attributed to multiple different things, but the ability for it to go down as fast as it was is because there's so many auto-traded, auto-botted things. Now, in the past cycles, institutions, big people had to do all of that themselves. Now they have things that are automated, and you can watch where inflows happen into Bitcoin. And when inflows happen into Bitcoin, automatically top 10 tokens follow in some mathematical pattern. Whether, ADA gets 1% of what that was, Sol gets 3%, ETH gets 3%. whatever. But if you actually took the time and looked at it, it all happened. So as the liquidity comes into the market, I think the liquidity will automatically be dispersed. And we're going to be waiting for an if this 1, 2, 3 down the line, and it's going to go up. We're going to have it a euphoric run. No one's going to know what the fuck's going on. And then all of a sudden, it's all just going to disappear. And then that'll be it. And they'll run it that way. But the timing of that is what none of us really know. And we'll argue and say what we think and all the rest of that. But that's the other side of the coin there in my theory.
I like it.
I think
I think
ETH is riding up right now on the momentum wave from its upgrade that it just did, and that's all it is.
Can I bring up my
Yeah,
chart?
and a bit of massive shilling by Tom Lee, because Tom Lee has nothing better to do with his
Correct.
magical hair.
The guy who put out an
Fucking
official
great
apology in April about calling for a bull market, and then saying, "I'm sorry, I was wrong," and then that was the bottom. Yeah, that guy.
Can I bring up my chart, Alex? I want to show something before we wrap things up.
Are you gonna offend me?
Absolutely. Every single time I have
Piper
the
loves
chance,
that.
I'll do that.
That's good, eh, Piper?
All right, so here's my
Don't worry
here's
about
the
Alex.
chart.
Don't worry about offending Alex. He offends everyone on a daily basis. So
Love it. All right, so let me put you in perspective here really quickly, right? This is a US dollar versus a Mexican peso. Most of you might be familiar with this, and let me explain how this works, right? The first asset, US dollar, is the one that we are analyzing based on a second asset. I mean, we already know it, right? This means that I need 18 Mexican pesos to fulfill $1, all right? So if the price of this goes up, that means stronger first asset, weaker second asset. All right. If this thing goes lower, that means weaker first asset and stronger second asset. So basically, we're charting the first asset, stronger or weaker. All right. At this point, we can see less Mexican pesos per dollar, which means weaker first asset, and the first asset is US dollar. All right, now that we have that in comparison, let's go and take a look at Solana Ethereum. All right, so first asset, remember, and what's going on with the first asset? The first asset is going lower. So in the first place, what in the hell are you talking about, brother? If you say that maybe we could be seeing Solana flipping Ethereum, this thing talks the other way around. It tells you the other way around, all right? Let me do a little tricking here just so you guys see what I'm seeing. And by the way, yes, it looks weaker, way weaker, right? But let me invert the scale. And what I'm trying to do here is trying to take a look at different patterns that we haven't looked at before, or they are not that obvious. At this point, look at that. We are on a resistance, all right? And let me bring this up really quickly. We are on a resistance, not only on resistance, what if we create, there it is. Let me just turn this one back off. Come on, you. Okay. Here it is. All right, here it is. So we're not only on the resistance, you can see the order block at the top, but also what if we reject out of here? That will be effectively one of two things. First, if this is a rounded top, we will have inverted Adam and Eve, which tends to be really bearish. Second of all, if we reject it out of here and we create a dead cat bounce, we're going to have a double top. So let me ask you guys in the public in here, or in Ada, Piper, and Alex, do you see topping signals in here in this chart, or is it just me? I mean, it's evident at this point.
Solana's TVL and its money producing compared to Ethereum is about 5x, and yet it is 5x undervalued. Hence why I stack Solana short, and it's a long-term hold for me. And that's just my my theory is that you're not going to run the NASDAQ tokenized on fucking Ethereum because it's like molasses and you can use a layer 2, maybe Arbitrum or Optimism. But if you're going to pick the fastest, quickest, most money making machine that can handle the influx that it had during meme coin shit season, it's Solana. And that's just a bet that I've taken. But I mean, it's in relative terms, ETH is big cheese because it because it hasn't gone down, right? And you got Mr. Vitalik Schlong Buterin, Canadian degen, just enjoying his like pajama parties, right? Like, what are you doing, right? So, I mean, even ADA has Charles Hoskins and stuff like that. Like, at least there's people who are trying there. So it's like, pick your poison.
Yes.
We know that, Wall Street's going to go to Ethereum initially, but when it comes down to performance and what they're going to need, I probably don't see them sticking around on Ethereum.
That was way much profound of what I was expecting, and yes, I think you nailed a couple of good points. And if I inverted back this chart, you'll see that hey, if this is a double top previously, that means price of Solana based on Ethereum might be going up to the previous point back at Wednesday, 17 September, which is where we duplicated price from Ethereum to Solana. So that's the only thing I wanted to bring up. It's just a different perspective. And
I gotta go though, but I love you guys all.
And we got to head over to
Enjoy
TA Plus.
your FOMC. Thanks for covering for me, guys, and I appreciate you. And we'll talk soon. All right.
Later, brother.
Later.
All right, guys, we're heading over to TA Plus.
See you guys up there. Thank you so much for joining. And as always, see you guys tomorrow.